The first time I went on the street, I was shabbily dressed up by my pimps. I was kind of naked. I couldn't stand it. I ran and hid myself at the back of the trash bins because I was so ashamed. I was so depressed, very sad, but there was nothing I could do. I still go back there every day. And gradually, by so doing, I lost my dignity as a woman. I lost my pride. The woman in me went out and I became wild.
Traffickers scout for potential victims, targeting men, women and children in countries where there is war, civil unrest, persecution of minority or racial religious groups, natural disaster, economic collapse, corruption and poverty, or a lack of opportunities or hope. Joy was first trafficked within her own country, aged 10, for domestic servitude, and later sold by her boyfriend to be trafficked to Europe for prostitution.
I came from a very poor home. My parents are very poor. They don't have any money.
Children are trafficked globally into any area where profits can be made, ruthlessly exploited into a wide range of work, denying them an education, robbing them of their dignity, and exposing them to dangerous work, damaging their physical and mental health.
I mean, why would Africans leave Africa to go and experience this? This is quite disheartening. Today we want to talk human trafficking. I can't really believe this. After watching this, do you still have the mind? Do you want to travel out and...
It is really appalling, very, very appalling.
It's really something else. I can't believe that this is happening to humans. Let's hear from you. What do you think?
Well, this is really appalling, and I can't just believe that people are taking so much risk like this. You know, it's like they are being deceived into believing that when you travel abroad, abroad is made up of gold, which is not true, from what we can see now. This is terrible.
Let's take a break. When we come back, Adesua Raitra is going to tell us what she is doing to prevent human trafficking. Do stay with us. Welcome back. This is Edak Show, and we are talking human trafficking with Adesua. Adesua, please take it from here. Why are you into human trafficking prevention?
First of all, thank you for the invitation. Well, about 2003, when I was in Austria for a holiday, I got to know about the issues of young Nigerian girls. I'm talking about 16-year-old girls. They have to walk on the streets, minus 10 degrees, half naked, and sleep with men for approximately 2,000 naira. And these girls, they come from very poor background, and they were really beaten because they have to pay back this ring of exploiters and traffickers about 50,000 euros. So you can calculate like 10 euros per client to pay 50,000 euros. So, well, I learned the language very fast, so I took a girl, translated for her, and got to hear her story. And that was the moment I was like, oh my God, we don't know about this issue in Nigeria. So I come from Edo State, and most of the girls trafficked, about over 100,000 Nigerian girls have been trafficked to Europe. This is at 2008, and most of them come from Edo State. So I was like, I'm going back home, and I'm going to tell the story. So we made a film, because my background is from the film industry, and we started raising awareness. So that's how it started, and to this point.
Okay, what do you think is the main reason that girls are being trafficked?
Well, when you talk about trafficking is a global problem. It's not a Nigerian problem.
But in Nigeria, most of the girls, why is it coming with
when it comes to trafficking from Nigeria, then trafficking has different forms. You have for sexual exploitation, domestic servitude, and different begging, you know, stealing, theft. So most of the young girls that
traffic girls who go and steal.
Yes, They traffic young guys to steal. They traffic young guys to carry drug as drug parcels. So most of the young girls that are trafficked to work as house girls, they come from the eastern part of the country. Most of the young girls that are trafficked to Europe for the purpose of sexual exploitation come from Edo State. So, and I come from Edo State, so that was like the connection. So I was like, let me focus on this. And why did these girls go? Well, it's a mixture of the situation of things. Like most of them really come from poor background, but that's, we can't reduce that to just poverty. There is greed. That's one point. Yeah, mothers. I'm shocked too, because when we were raising awareness, went to schools, went to mothers. Mothers are behind it. Mothers, they want to wear the latest lace. So that latest lace, you need to get the money for it. So they want their daughters to give them the money. So the mothers don't care to find out, what is my daughter going to do in Europe if someone comes? Ah, she's going to Europe. Okay, let's go. So we could shift it to ignorance. Maybe the mother doesn't know that her daughter will be beaten, raped, exploited, will have to walk through the desert for months. Maybe she doesn't know. But these young girls, they don't see any future. You know what they tell us, because I own an organization in Austria and we counsel those young girls too. They tell me that, before I'll be fifth or fourth wife of one old man here, that I will now have 5 kids that I can't send to school. Let me just go to Europe and go and make money, come back and earn respect. So we're coming back to the society where respect is born. So there are lots of factors that, you know, push people to leave this country.
This way, from what you are saying, mothers encourage their daughters to go out and prostitute and do all these kind of things. To me, for what reasons? What do you think is the main problem here?
Yes, that's exactly how I saw it at the beginning. I was like, it doesn't add up, because I'm from Edo State and I have a mother. My mother is there. She didn't tell me to go and go abroad and make money for me. First of all, I'm telling you, the mothers, they don't want to know what the daughter does. The most important thing, you've got house neighbors. They have a big house. They are wealthy. So the mother wants her child to still have the same. So she says, go there where the neighbor's daughter is.
Whatever it takes.
Italy, they don't want to know that. We have lots of young girls calling. They're like, hey, I don't have money. I have to send money home. I said, tell your mother you don't have money. You don't have where to sleep. She's like, hey, please, I need to send this money home because my mother this and that. But behind it, it's not just the mother's responsibility, of course, because that young girl has a father. So she has a whole family. So the problem there is not just poverty.
Is it education?
You need money to
awareness.
Awareness is important, but some families don't have 3 square meals. So this is another issue. Poverty is there.
Okay, should we push it to the government? It shouldn't be only mothers.
It shouldn't.
What do you think is the role of our government?
Be mothers or the families. Of course, the Nigerian government has a big role to play. When you have, you know, large youth unemployment, where do you want them to go? So there is lots of restructuring to do here in this country.
But like you said, that it is a global thing.
Yeah.
It's not peculiar to Nigeria.
At all. At all.
So why? Nigeria is a blessed country. Why would a mother send her daughter out to go and do this kind of things? Because somehow in Nigeria, we always have food to eat. One way or the other, even if it's once. It might not be what you want to eat, but you'll have something to put on your stomach. Maybe Gary to drink or something.
Yeah, tell them that. Yeah. That's what I would tell them.
So you tell me, what is the role of government in this, in combating this human trafficking?
Oh, well, in 2004, the government developed what it's called NAPTIP. So National Organization for the Prohibition of Human Trafficking, or Trafficking in Person. It's from the police force. They do lots of conference abroad with the UN.
Not here.
They do conference too, and they actually, NAPTIP has a good record of fighting human trafficking within Africa and from other African countries to Nigeria and within Nigeria. But when it comes to international, well, to Europe, it's not functioning. It's not just on the side of NAPTIP, the European government too. They have responsibility. Both governments have responsibility, and they are not fulfilling it. So the Nigerian government is send back those girls, deport them back. They shouldn't run away from Nigeria. There's no reason. That's the perspective of the Nigerian government. They are disgracing us. But well, there's no future for this young girl in her country, so face it. On the other side, the European government Well, there's a bit of racism there. We don't want black girls on the street. Send them back. Or even if they are even going to come here, they are only good enough for cleaning or as prostitutes. So it's a very difficult situation.
Let's take a break. When we come back, you'll tell us where these cartels are found. Because the girls do not develop wings to fly and get there. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are talking human trafficking with Adesua. Adesua, please enlighten us. These girls, how do they get to Europe?
First of all, it's important to differentiate between migration. Migration is normal. People want to migrate to and fro. That's okay. Smuggling, it's also another issue. Now we're talking about human trafficking, so we shouldn't put everything, in one pot. Mm-hmm. These girls, most of the time, they're recruited by friends, neighbors, family members. So this is not just like a Hollywood film where someone kidnaps a girl and takes her abroad. No, they are recruited by someone they know that says, oh, come, it's good here, I'll help you, I'll sponsor your trip. So they go into a contract with this person. Most of the time, they go to a juju man's place and they swear an oath that they will go to Europe and they'll pay the agreed amount. We're talking about 50,000 euros, $60,000. So then the papers are forged, so it's very often not, it's definitely not a real document for that person. Then they either go by foot, then with car through the desert, or most of the girls, they fly KLM, Air France, and they land in Europe. So when they get there, before they've been told you work in a restaurant, you work in a saloon, or as a babysitter, you go to computer school. So this is the idea they have, that they'll do this and pay back within 6 months, I'll pay 50,000 euros. But you don't know what 50,000 euros is. And in Europe, you pay bills and you pay tax. So even if you're earning 1,000 euros, at the end of the month, you'll be on a minus. So these girls, they get there. After 2 days, all their documents are seized, taken from them. They are sent to an asylum home where they seek for asylum. Most of them do not know this before. So once you get there, you have to, in Europe, you have to register.
To asylum by who?
By the traffickers, by these friends and family members. They, the funniest thing is the way they tell them that. When they get there, they say, look, so this is white man's country now, so things are different here. We are brothers and sisters, let's do it. The first thing, you just go there, just tell them one story. Tell them that there's war in your country, you come from Liberia, or now the new one, tell them it's Boko Haram, and you had to run. So you are here, you seek for asylum. So they tell you the story to tell them. So you actually think you're in a community of people helping you. So they go there, they seek for asylum, so you must seek for asylum to have a status. You must be registered somewhere in that country because they've taken the document you used to come because it's not your document. So they now they are registered. So in some European countries, especially, for example, Austria, where I stay, in one of the states, asylum seekers are not allowed to work normally as a receptionist, but they're allowed to prostitute on the streets as self-employed. So this is where the discrimination even starts from. So once they register, the next 2 days, they are sent on the street to work. So the girl is like, sorry, this is not the deal we made. Where is the computer school? Where is the saloon? The guy tells her, okay, go to the computer school and earn money. You want to use 10 years to pay me my 50,000 euros. So you have this option. Either you go to the streets and pay me my money within 8 months, or I will go to the police and tell them you came here legally, undocumented, and you'll be deported. And when you're deported, you remember we swear an oath by Juju Man's place. First of all, the girls, they swear that they will get crazy, they don't pay the money, they won't have a child and all these things. Added to that, they will send talks. The moment she says, no, I want to go to a restaurant to work, I don't want to do this, I'm a Christian and all these things, they will say, okay, wait, your mother will call you. So they will send talks to the family to beat them up. So the family will call the girl and tell the girl, I don't want to know what you are doing. People are paying, people are having money. Do whatever that our neighbor is saying, you know. So, oh, this is just like a whole structure. Then the worst thing is, this young girl maybe finds a way to go to an organization to tell them her plight. I want to get out of this situation. The organization, they will try to help. We've tried to help several cases. But at the end of the day, the European government, they don't have an interest supporting such a young girl. Their interest is, okay, she's a victim of trafficking. She didn't want to come. Send her back home.
Okay.
You know?
And the girls don't want to go back home.
Of course she won't want to go back home now, because now she's in trouble. You know, so once she gets into that situation, it's very difficult to come out of it. And that is why we believe, because we've talked to girls that have, they have been raped, well, sleeping with 10 men in night and you don't want it, that's rape. So imagine being 10 times raped every night till you pay that 50,000 euros. She's broken. She can't learn anything. You know, her future is gone. So we believe that we should try to prevent it. We all have the possibility to prevent it.
You're right. You're so right. Let's hear our audience reaction, because I'm sure they are itching to comment. Or
you said earlier on that we have more than about 100,000 guys who are in Europe. Now, what is the Nigerian embassies doing? So what are they doing to curtail the activities of these guys?
Some of the embassies, I can't speak for, I don't generalize, I can't speak for all the embassies. Some of the embassies, especially in Germany, in Austria, they try to do something, but sometimes you get to see, how do these girls get the passport they use to then travel to another country? Where is it coming out from? So, you know, corruption is everywhere. So sometimes it's very difficult, and the biggest problem is, before you can help, or let me say support a girl, she has to tell you what her problem is, you know? And that's even what the law says. There is an European law on this. She has to say, okay, I've been trafficked, I'm a victim, before you can take that step. Most of these girls will never say it, because sometimes it's her cousin that trafficked her. It's maybe even, we had the case, it was her elder sister, so you want her to put her elder sister in jail, you know? So it's a very, what sometimes happen, what it boils down to, that we try to, because we have the organization in Benin, so we try to get the families together and find a way. If it doesn't work out, then we go radical and start to use the police and all this stuff. But the embassies, when they get to that point, they notice, oh, this is a very, you know, family member issue, it's difficult, and the Austrian government is not responding like they should respond. They get their hands behind it, back away from it. So.
Okay. Let's take another question.
You made mention of ignorance. I want to make believe that it's more of a competition, in the sense that of recent I do travel down to Edo State, and when I get there, I got to discover that the owners of houses and companies are being owned by women. So I believe it's more or less a competition down there. So what do you think about that?
I know. I know it's a competition down there, because, okay, I can imagine, I was happy when my mother came to visit me, because I'm not, probably in Austria, probably I'm not like the very typical Bini daughter, because I won't do that. You know, the way you flaunt the money out, because I work hard for my money. So I'm not going to do all those parties and Ashwebi and the gold. Sorry, no way. So when mom came, she got to see how you work 24 hours for that money, so you don't squander it. But if you are a madam, like you, there are young women like me, I hope I'm young women like me in abroad, they have like 20 girls scattered over European countries. Imagine 20 girls balancing 2,000 euros every week. Sorry, you will build houses and do the ashwebi and buy the gold. So, because you just sit down, have your touts threatening those girls, have your family members threatening those girls there. All you do is sit down and get that money, so you squander it. So that's why you see the money flowing like that. But people that really work hard for their money, there are also lots of Nigerians abroad that work day and night for their money. They have like 4 jobs to make sure they make ends meet. They don't waste the money like that.
Oh, that's why. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Edak Show, and we are talking human trafficking with Adeswa. Now, let's take one comment.
I don't really want to agree with the fact you said poverty. We all know it is sometimes difficult to have 3 square meals in Nigeria, especially in some urban parts. But I want to make it known that poverty is not an excuse for human trafficking. I believe when you have a conscience, you know what you want to use your body for. You can't tell me because there is no food to eat, then use your body to pay for it. Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that?
Well, I could respond to that, but first of all, human trafficking is really a global problem and it's a big issue, so we can't talk about everything in just the show. Yeah. Men are affected, women are affected. Poverty, of course, is a problem, and poverty is not just 3 square meals. You know, poverty goes beyond education. How enlightened are the families, the mothers? You know, there are lots of issues there, and it goes to health issues, you know, future prospects. So poverty in all this, its forms and sense, is definitely a push factor for someone to say, I want to go abroad and look for a future. And we should get that clear that the desire to travel abroad, it's nothing bad. There's nothing bad about it. We have expatriates coming to Nigeria. Why can't we travel abroad? You know, there is an issue that we should also maybe start thinking about is we don't get visas. Okay. It's a problem. Just go to like maybe the Austrian embassy, you won't even get an appointment. Yeah. You know, so there's a global imbalance here. Yeah. You know, so these are issues we should also look into.
Anyway, let's take the last question.
I want to come from the legal aspect of it and the awareness, public this awareness. It's not only family members. You have some, let me say, group of people or some powerful individuals in the society that form the 70 cartel and recruit these people to go. And I'm sure the police authority on investigation know these people. What's your NGO doing to partner with the police so that these people will be prosecuted?
Yeah, who is celebrated? Because this is the push factors. People want to be respected. Okay. People want to be taken for a human being.
Yes, we know that. So a question of your NGO, how are you helping?
Yes, so I have 2 entities. We have the NGO Exit, which started about 2006 ago, and we're in Austria and in Benin City. So we do, it's across a mixture of awareness raising in Benin and abroad too, because the demand is also an issue. And we counsel the girls, so when they come over to us, we used to have strict workers, but we don't do that anymore because they come and we try to go through the legal process, go to the police and go to court with the young girls, but it's a very tedious process, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really yield much fruit, you know, when you go to the court, because they don't want to testify against people, they are afraid. So what we do, we offer training, language courses, computer courses, and handicraft. But lately, 2 years ago, I just got uncomfortable. I need change, so, and results. So I got comfortable with the fact that we counsel, you know, this intervention. So we decided to go back into prevention, you know, not just awareness raising, but give true prospects. So what we do is we work with an organization here in Nigeria, in Lagos. So we actually recruit young girls that have learned, that are into tailoring and sewing. So we are just building up a small factory right now, or for garment production, well, in mass production. So we're training these young girls to become industrialized textile producers. Actually, I think they empower us because they make the clothes we wear. They make this. So we should look at it from a different, these are not like poor girls that we want to help. Sorry, they make our clothes. So they're learning new skills, and they make these clothes which we export abroad. We sell them abroad, and very soon we'll be selling the clothes here too. So we have a brand, a company called Joadre, and we make this clothes. So it's a mixture of both social work and business activities.
Does that answer the legal aspect?
Well, yes, to the legal aspect, like I said, in Europe, we work with the authorities. In Nigeria, we don't really work with the authorities here because then you have to have an international case.
So you haven't been able to identify the cartels?
In Nigeria?
Yes.
We've been able to identify Nigerian cartels in Europe, but not in Nigeria because we have cases in Europe, or the victims of trafficking are in Europe that we look into. So there are lots of other organizations in Nigeria doing real great job working with NAPTIP, that's the authority, that's the legal process. So what we do too is that, well, the UN, we work with the UN because they have loads of legal judges and prosecutors. So we try to cooperate with them on identification of perpetrators.
Okay, that's some good news anyway.
Yes, everybody can do something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you so much, Adesua. Thank you, my wonderful audience, for your contribution. And I hope you've been inspired, you've been educated, the awareness is there, you'll be able to stop someone from taking the wrong choice. I hope you've learned that you can do something, no matter how small. Stay with us. Welcome back. Another simple tip for you from your kitchen. Things you can use. I have my lavender plant here. Most of the flower gardens have it. Just ask for lavender and you'll get it. What you do is that most time you use dry, you can use, if it is fresh, you boil it. But if it's dry like this, just put it in your bucket. You can actually use everything, the flowers, the leaves. Pour in your hot water, boil hot, steaming hot water. Sit on it, be careful, sit on it, it's hot. You cover yourself very, very well. This one is just for purpose of demonstration. You need a thicker blanket to cover yourself. You sit down for 30 minutes. 30 minutes to 1 hour. That should do the trick. And this particular remedy is for anything here, like hemorrhoids, uterine fibroids, infertility, scars from cesarean from oppression, anything that has to do with hair. This will actually help while you are taking your treatment. And men are not left out. Prostate problems are on the rise these days. So you can actually use this to steam your anus and on that area. It helps to keep you healthy. That's my tip for you today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you next week.